I've got one that can see.
Welcome to 3NN Podcast with your hosts with the most, Nick Tesla and Brian McFadden.
Welcome, everybody, to 3NN Podcast number 26. My name is Nick Tesla. His name is
Brian McFadden.
And we're here to crack your head wide open like an egg on a Saturday morning. I know I had another, we got a new catchphrase, so that's, I think we're going to retire cracking your head wide open like an egg on a Saturday morning. We're going to retire that on this 3NN.
Are we?
And going forward, we actually came up on the end of brainstorming the episode. If anybody's watching both episodes, ooh, good for you. But or thanks.
Thank you. Share with your friends.
Not good for you. Thank you. Well, both, right? But we are going to be retiring, crack your head wide open like an egg on a Saturday morning. So it's a solemn day. It's time to put it in the ground. Time to start anew. So I don't know. That's all I got to say about that. I guess we're going to dive right in. Do you want to dive right in, Brian?
Let's dive right in.
All right, I want to dive right in about, what do you call it? Would alien life, this is my question for you, Brian, would alien life ever even possibly want to contact human life? Or let's even put it this way. Would alien life ever want to contact the supposed leaders of humans? Can you tell me that, Brian?
I highly doubt it.
You highly doubt it.
Unless the aliens are, in fact, the leaders of the humans.
Ooh. Could the aliens, or could the aliens be the leaders of the humans? Well, hey, that's like some David Icke shit. If you really want to get
David Icke shit.
If you really want to get deep down into it, that is like some David Icke shit. And I don't know if I want to get that deep down into it because the angle that we're taking on this episode, at least, is that there's a top NASA scientist that has come out. I got to pull it up here. There's a top NASA scientist that has come out and basically stated that we are, what's this year? 2015?
Yeah.
We are 10 years. For some reason, I thought it was less than 10 years. We are 10 years from alien contacts, from contact with alien life. And anytime I hear anything like this, and I know people probably, I'd like to say people are tired of hearing me say it, but there's not enough people that have heard me say it, so I'll continue to say it until people are tired of hearing it. The NSA has already come out, and there's a paper you can find released by the NSA, or a report released by the NSA detailing. All you really got to do is type into Google. I'll type it in right now just to show people that that's all you got to do. I'll show you what the top couple results are. Is NSA alien, right? Oh, what's that? They put in, I didn't even fully spell it alien yet, and it says NSA aliens, NSA alien message, NSA Alice Springs, NSA alien messages decoded, NSA alien files. Like, wait, hold on. Let's just go to NSA alien message. What's that? Wait, what? Hold on. Whoa, what's this saying? Hold on. The number one result, Brian, on Google. This is on Google. Oh, and you think sometimes Google sometimes. So this isn't even on the dark web, I guess you could say. Is the first result is communication with extraterrestrial intelligence. That is a PDF released by the NSA. So if you click on that, it takes you to the NSA.gov website. Ooh. And also, if you type Illuminati backwards and then .com, it takes you to the NSA website. Pretty. That's classic. That's classic, Brian. That's classic.
That's some crazy shit.
No, that's just classic. All right. And there's also there's a couple. The second one is a PDF from NSA again. The key to the extraterrestrial messages. So it's like somebody could see that first one and be like, well, that just means like in case there were ever communication with No. Second one, literally the second result tells you. Oh, key to the extraterrestrial messages. Oh, so we've received extraterrestrial messages, and this is the key to deciphering them or understanding what they say. What? That's what I always think about. And then the third, I'll read you the third and fourth results because they're funny. NSA releases UFO files, reveals alien messages received. All right, that's from goldenageofgaia.com, which is like, who is that? All right. But then you see this one, and if there wasn't actually results from the NSA's website itself, you'd be like, okay, this is just a little bit too much or a little too outlandish. But the fourth one is NSA admits to ET contact and provides some UFO disclosure. That's from WikiLeaksForum.com. So exactly, and it's filed under whistleblowers, Edward Snowden, NSA. So exactly, and and sometimes you think about, well, how come Edward Snowden was like really targeted like he was, like almost like that was the information that he was releasing was so highly secure, and it's like, no, I almost think Bradley Manning was, or Chelsea Manning was releasing
Bradley Manning.
Much
Bradley.
Well, I call him. Her name is Chelsea Manning now, so I'm gonna address him as Chelsea Manning. But,
we're through that phase.
What?
The last time I heard,
it's Chelsea Manning. Yeah, we call him Chelsea Manning. That's what everybody calls him who has any ounce of respect for him, which I have large.
The last I paid any attention to for her. Manning, it was still Bradley Manning.
Maybe the government. Maybe the government is still addressing him or addressing her as that, but that's Chelsea Manning. Everybody calls her Chelsea Manning. But that was
Chelsea
more.
It is.
That was more. I don't want to say devastating, or that was more harmful to the government and government intelligence operations than Edward Snowden.
True.
Edward Snowden just confirmed what a lot of conspiracy theorists have been saying for a long, long time. You know what I'm saying? Like, Edward Snowden just like confirmed that maybe you should carry an extra thing of tinfoil in your house just in case. No, I'm not saying. I will never advocate anybody to wear tinfoil hats. I think that's like, you get to the point of wearing a tinfoil hat, it's time to really step outside the tinfoil box or your tinfoil walls and check yourself before you wreck yourself. And chances are you've already wrecked yourself. All right. So that's just crazy. Is by 2025, this NASA scientist says that we will have an alien life. We will encounter alien life. We will discover or contact alien life. Right? Is that what he says? Contact. I said three different things: discover, contact, and.
He says we'll find signs.
We will find signs of alien life within 10 years. Well, look. All right. NASA chief scientist Ellen Stofan.
With even stronger evidence for extraterrestrials in the years that follow.
There was a crop circle answer.
Definitive evidence within 20 to 30 years.
The crop circle answer to our message. Look at that. I put in crop answer.
Whoa. Time out here. We know where to look. We know how to look. In most cases, we have the technology.
He's thinking about Goldilocks, dog. He's talking about Goldilocks planets. That's what he means by we know where to look. Because when they think about life and any type of life that could be out there, they think of life, biological life like ours that could only survive on a planet with similar conditions such as ours, not realizing that there may be other organisms and things from other planets that survive off of like methane or helium or something and not oxygen, you know? Like, so they're kind of, they're
I think
flawed.
something lives in the
from.
storms of Jupiter.
What?
I think there's something that lives in the great storms of Jupiter.
There's something that lives in the great storms of Jupiter.
That black spot.
Well, hey, don't. I want everybody. What do you call it? We'll let them know right now. We'll come back to it in a little bit. We won't. I don't want to touch on it any more than this. But you need to check out next week's 3NN. 3NN 27. And 27 is my favorite number, too. That's the funniest part about it. 3NN 27. The Moon Spectacular.
The Moon. According to Mark Dice, Al-Qaeda is building a base on the moon.
Dude, there's many theories about the moon. There's a dead whale on the moon. There's what do you call it? A dead whale from SeaWorld on the moon. There's pyramids on the moon. There's an obelisk on the moon. The moon is a spaceship. The moon is hollow. And some of the theories about the moon that they say, because now apparently the theory that the moon was created by a collision with Earth, and that's a giant chunk of Earth that came off and started orbiting Earth. Apparently, that's actually now being questioned by mainstream science, and they're not sure if that's actually what happened. And they're starting to look at other theories as far as where the moon came from and how it became our satellite. You know, pretty insane. All right, I would just like to. Do you have anything else you want to touch on that, Brian?
No, I think anything I have will come back to at number 5.
Hey, I don't know what he's talking about with these numbers. So I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about.
Our fifth topic of the day.
I don't know what the fuck he's talking about, Brian. Production stuff stays between us. Anyway, I just wanted to let everybody know that today's show is being brought to you by MSG, the essence of taste.
Since 1909.
Exactly, making food taste good since 1909. Oh, so go out and get yourself a McDonald's cheeseburger today, and you're like, damn, why does this thing taste so good?
MSG.
It's probably the MSG. Or why are these fries so damn addictive? Probably the MSG. Or why are these Doritos? I can't help but have about 33 Doritos at a pop. The MSG. All right, how about, hey, even, what do you call it? Pringles. Remember, I've talked about Pringles before. Once you pop, you can't stop. But it's the MSG. So, MSG has got its fingers and tentacles in everything, and you gotta love it because it's just
it's so tasty.
Good, so
it's
tasty.
The essence of taste. I mean,
and don't worry about side effects may cause cancer and death. Moving on.
Yeah.
Speaking of alien life and all this, I want anybody out there, if you've seen Jesse Ventura's conspiracy theory, then you might know about this guy, and you're aware of this guy, but you also, you don't see many people looking into him or talking about him, and it's maybe either because he could kill you or because it's a little too much to handle, kind of like the NSA message saying that we've received alien contact, right? Robert Bigelow. Anybody's out there, take a look at Robert Bigelow. He's got some crazy ideas. I think he's got one of the first privatized. He's actually, I believe, right? You remember seeing this. He's one of the first people, private companies, given the rights to launch spacecraft into space.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, now you remember who this is. And there's speculation that he may actually have aliens working at his place. His logo is an alien, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's the Skinwalker Ranch episode or not. It might be. But there's a lot of weird stuff when it comes to Robert Bigelow. Robert Bigelow reminds me of a Howard Hughes, but for the space industry, and also he may be a Howard Hughes only strictly because he's in cahoots with Alien Life. You know, I don't know. Maybe Alien Life came here looking for whoever crashed on Roswell, and they ended up talking to Robert Bigelow, and Robert Bigelow was like Mr. Businessman, Mr. Con Artist, or whatever. I was like, let's talk. I see that spaceship you got that just landed over there, and I can guarantee you there's some technology on there that could really help our planet. You think we could work together? And now that fucking alien is sitting at a desk in some dark hole inside Robert Bigelow's Enterprises or whatever, right? Sitting there at a desk smoking a cigarette what does my life come to? Came here to rescue somebody who crashed in 1945. Here it is, 70 years later, 80 years later, I don't even fucking know. And I'm sitting at a desk, filing paperwork and correcting these dumbass humans on trying to create our technology. What am I doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that could be the whole case. That would be interesting. I don't know why I got that deep into it. But when it comes to crazy ideas and alien inspired, I also think of Elon Musk, Tesla Motors. Tesla Motors. Tesla Motors is doing some fucking crazy shit. Tesla Motors may be coming out with a hybrid mobile home, a plug-in hybrid mobile home called the Model H, which I think could be some amazing stuff. There's very, very little information on it. It's only speculation really at the moment. There's nothing confirmed. But they may be coming out with a mobile home that is a battery-powered mobile home. And think about a mobile home that's different from a car. A mobile home, one, especially if you make it like a Winnebago where it is like its own vehicle as well, has the ability to put not just on the top of it, but all around the sides and the back of it, solar panels.
True.
So solar panels, you could do that. You could also have extending solar panels where you might even have the opportunity, especially if you're parked somewhere in the woods, you may have the ability to extend maybe 3 or 4 extra layers of solar panels up into the sky to catch the sun, as much sun as you can to get as much, I don't know. And then also think about the braking systems, how they get the braking systems that generate electricity from the action of braking the car. So there's a lot of different things that could be possible with this. But what's really interesting about that to me is the one thing about RVs and mobile homes and stuff like that is when you go out, you have to get gas. There's not really an electric one out there. But even if you go out, and they create an electric one, even if you go out, you're still going to need to charge your thing. But once they create an electric one, there's just going to be immediately you're going to have smart people modding RVs to make them completely self-sufficient. So you go out into the desert or whatever, you go out into the woods, and as long as there's sunlight, your thing's charging. Your thing can charge, and you can continue moving on, leave, do whatever you need to do. Use all your appliances and stuff inside of it. I could really see once this picks up, it might take 10 years or so. Like, it might take Tesla to really push it like it did for the electric car. I could see this being the start of a like survivalist movement where people buy these and go off and just live random places in the woods and stuff. Or they actually have like national parks set up areas where you can actually, like, there are a lot of parks and stuff in state parks where you can come park your RV, and people are just paying their rent. They don't have to pay anything but their $100 docking fee.
I'm looking at the pictures of the Model H for the very first time.
No, that's not pictures of the Model H, Brian. That's not pictures of the Model H. That's why I said this is all speculation. So you're not looking at pictures of the Model H for the very first time. There are no pictures of the Model H.
Okay, whatever these pictures
These are Photoshop pictures of the person who made this. What do you call it? And those are just pictures of the person. Most likely, you can tell that they're photoshopped pretty easily. This is on offgridquest.com.
Because that's a sexy looking friggin'
It is sexy, but most likely these are pictures where the person went to Google and just typed in futuristic RV or futuristic mobile home. And those are some of the pictures that came up, and they took the best ones or the sexiest ones and put them up as that's the Tesla H. That's not the Tesla H. It's pretty deceptive, but that's what a lot of sites do. You got to learn to see through that, and I know you can see through that. It just doesn't state it on there, So if it stated on there that there are no images available yet, you'd realize that that's not it. But they don't state it on there, so they just leave it up to fucking ambiguity or whatever the fuck it is. But also, the Tesla home battery is something also for people to be checking out as well. When the Tesla home battery comes out, that's also another thing that could really revolutionize things. But there are home batteries out now, so it's not like they're revolutionizing anything when it comes to that. But home batteries, if they do to home batteries what they did to battery-driven vehicles, then things could change overnight. But you also got to think they're encroaching on literally where Nikola Tesla tread and got shot down. You know what I'm saying? It's not the same. It's not the exact same concept whatsoever. But with solar panels becoming more and more affordable as the years go on, the longer it goes without one of these things coming out, without a home battery, like a really efficient home battery coming out, the longer it takes for one to come out, the harder it's going to be for one of them to come out, because the energy companies are like the companies that literally you pay your power companies, PSE&G or whatever you want to call it. These companies you pay money to are going to do everything they can with lobbyists and everything they can to make sure
they don't want to lose
that
money.
People don't have a efficient battery combination and a way to get free power, hence solar power. Yeah. There's and if you actually look into it, there's a lot of conspiracies. Like when you think about the water-powered car, right? You think about solar power, and if you followed solar power, I've always followed technology pretty closely, and this is something you don't see anybody really talk about. But solar power, there's been a few different solar panel innovations that I've seen come about in the past 10 years. Every single one of those innovations, other than larger solar panels and like the same exact solar panel system we've had, just getting slightly better, marginally better at gaining more and more energy from the sun. But it's on a slow bell curve or whatever, up, right? It's on a slow curve going upwards, but it's not making leaps and bounds. Anything that innovative that is invented, any solar power that is innovative and invented, that is leaps and bounds above the solar power we have now, you hear about it, and it's like, oh my God, you see the people, they're out pushing it and they're out talking about it, and like a year later, you can't find anything on it. It disappears. Literally, like all the stories that you saw about it, everything, completely, not even like the water-powered car, there's stories out there, because that's before the internet. Like those stories were a lot harder to try and suppress locally, so those local stories are still able to be found. But now you can suppress almost everything. So it's like, that's just gone. Last 10 years, the internet has been taken over behind the scenes, and it's like, if there's something that is not supposed to be shown to the general public, like that, some of those solar powered units or whatever might be being used by the military, and there's their reason for saying, well, the public can't have this yet. We need to use it first, Hence, it's not in the public's hands. But I saw a solar power, like a kid who had created a solar antenna, right? And it was literally an antenna. It looked like a car radio antenna, car radio antenna that sticks up like 3 or 4 feet, right? But it was black and like had like kind of almost like a wind chime kind of texture to it. I don't know how to put it, but it had like a different texture on the outside, almost like a ramp going up around it, like a spiral going up around it, right? And as that spiral went up, it had little diodes or little receptors or whatever to catch the sunlight as it went up, but it had a whole bunch of them because it was on an antenna, right? And this thing could capture, I think, 100 times more sunlight using the same amount of space. It could capture 100 times more sunlight than regular solar power, right? And the kid had it figured out. He was powering stuff, it was like a 19-year-old kid or something, like Indian kid or something, right? Had it figured out. He was powering a whole bunch of stuff. He had it on a bicycle that was fully electrically powered by it, right? He was trying to get it all put together so that he could market it and sell it as a real thing, or you know what I'm saying? Or maybe see if he could sell it to a solar power company, which is probably what he ended up trying to do, and it ended up getting it probably got bought out.
Probably bought and forgotten.
And hushed about, you know what I'm saying? A company holds on to it.
Down the rabbit hole it goes.
Down the rabbit hole and down the line. 50 years down the line, maybe we'll release this to people. But then again, it's like we're trying to collect money from people, you know what I'm saying? It's like that's not helping them. When you give some people something where they don't need to come back and get more and more and more solar panels that they have now, where you need to just keep adding on to them if you need more power, and you don't need that. You got all you need because you got the antenna one. Well, it's like, screw that. We're not selling the damn antenna one. We want the one where people keep coming back because they need more and more power.
Yeah.
You know, because now they're trying to sell some power back to the what do you call it? And that they're teased by that. Whereas if you had 10 antennas instead of 33, 33 old school ones, with those 10 antennas, you can fucking sell 10 times more power back to the electric company than you could have with those 33 big ones. Hence why you don't want people making money from the electric company. The electric company's going to go out of business. Then people realize we don't need the electric company. I don't know how us human beings, being smart and intelligent, and that's like part of the thing I posted on Facebook the other day and had somebody comment on and try and say, well, who's going to do this, who's going to do that? The main point about it was there's some common sense things. Like we pay for power. We have the technology with solar power and solar panels, and they're getting cheap enough to literally take that power from the sun and convert it and store it for when we need to use it. And we don't have to pay for any of that. We have to pay for the equipment, but past that, we don't have to pay for anything else. And I don't want to say that's stupid, but we're that stupid that we're letting that happen, that we're letting people charge us for electricity. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? When it's something that's literally freely given to us. Yeah, we might have to pay for the equipment to harness it, but once we pay for that equipment, we have that energy. We have that power. Unless something breaks one of the equipment, something from the equipment breaks, we got that power. We got that energy. We ain't paying no more bills. Why are people still paying electric bills? You know what I'm saying? Why are people building new houses still setting up? Because the electric company is an industry, is a utility, is something that that the economy is based on. Blah, 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 blah. It's like that's the stupid shit that's got to go, and people got to start waking up. It's the year 2015. Is it going to be 2030, and there's still half the population paying an electric bill? Really? And the sun's giving us power for free, and we're still working hard to give our money to the electric
I'm afraid that it's going to be the year 2050, and people are still going to think that the Democrats and the Republicans hate each other.
What?
I'm afraid that...
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, Brian. Yeah, it's going to be. I don't think you don't need to be afraid. It's going to be.
It's,
the Arecibo response.
Turning into idiocracy.
That was the thing I was talking about with the alien life and how they have responded to us, and with that is signs of alien life. Is there's the Arecibo response? We sent out a binary code message out into space, and we actually received a crop circle response that looked almost identical to it, but had different information, different binary code information, but had the almost exact same layouts, which was obvious that it was a response to our original binary code thing that we sent out. Pretty crazy, Brian.
Pretty crazy.
I guess that'll lead us to, I don't know, I want to touch on Elon Musk, how he's got his fingers in a lot of stuff, or he's got his hands in a lot of stuff. He's kind of the man. I don't even know all the other stuff I've known and I've been told plenty of times.
Could he be
but the only
Tesla
thing I think of is Tesla.
reincarnated?
Huh?
Could he be Nikola Tesla reincarnated?
No, I don't think he is Nikola Tesla reincarnated. I actually am speaking with somebody at the moment. I'm trying to get them to see if maybe they can come onto the show as a guest. If not, I'm going to do a written interview, and I'll share the written interview on the show with somebody who believes they are the reincarnation of Nikola Tesla.
Really?
Yes. and I'm not going to mention his name. Nothing's official yet, so I'm not going to name anything.
And it's not you?
No, well, that's the thing, and that's why I'd like to interview him about it and talk to him about it, is because I believe when you die, there's a possibility that your soul can split up into innumerable pieces.
Okay.
And occupy innumerable bodies.
So there could be multiple
in
Nikola
the physical
Teslas.
reality. There could be multiple reincarnations of Nikola Tesla, multiple pieces of his soul, and each soul is almost unique in itself because it takes a piece of this, and like one soul got the craziness that married a pigeon. You know what I'm saying? The other soul got the genius that figured out how to get electricity from thin air, from the atmosphere around us. You know what I'm saying? From the environment. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think I got some of his weirdness, but also like his, not soft side, his more curious side. Not his more curious, intelligent side, where it's like, I got to figure this out, and there's a process and a formula that I can figure all this out and have an answer. I think his more curious side of like life after death and things like that, where it's like, you don't really know that there's answers, but somebody like Nikola Tesla, I can guarantee you, was interested in that. Whether or not he was interested enough to like really research it or anything, I can guarantee you those types of existential questions were in his mind at some points in his life.
Sure.
You know, we all have those existential questions. You can't say that nobody does. So I almost feel like I almost have that part of Nikola Tesla, where like a part of me feels like I want to be smart and this and that, but another part of me feels like I did that, and that's not even really like, I'm not even that chunk of that soul. You know, I'm not even that piece of the soul. That's not a part of really who I am. That reincarnation, or this reincarnation, Nikola Tesla, is not supposed to be the smart scientist genius. You know what I'm saying? I'm supposed to be the lighthearted one, where Nikola Tesla throughout his life might have been kind of lighthearted, but he wasn't like goofy. And maybe there was a part of him that wanted to be goofy and got to a certain point where it was like, there's no way I can be goofy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a respected, serious scientist, blah, 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 you know? And it's like you get stuck in who you are. And when he was a kid, maybe he wanted to be goofy, and he never was. And then as he got older, he never was, because that's just not who he was. But there was still a piece of his soul that wanted to be goofy. So here I am, a piece of his soul that wanted to be goofy, and I'm going to be fucking goofy. And just so happens, somehow I ended up calling myself Nick Tesla. So I'm also talking to somebody else that believes that they are the reincarnation of Nikola Tesla. I don't believe they believe the same thing I do, where a soul can split up and that's a possibility. But I still want to talk to them and kind of a meeting of minds of two people that believe they may be the reincarnation of Nikola Tesla. That person cool. Also, I believe, has much more, I won't say concrete evidence, but much more of a case to say, you know, much more of good reasons to say that he's a reincarnation of Nikola Tesla. Me, mine's much more wishy-washy, like could be, possibility, like it's more on a spiritual level. I'm not like, I can't be certain, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Maybe I'm not supposed to be certain, but I don't know. It's like I don't have that innate overall feeling like I am the reincarnation of Nikola Tesla, like some people have said, and some people say they're the reincarnation of Jesus. Think how many people have come out and said they are the reincarnation of Jesus.
A lot.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Are all those people actually the reincarnation of Jesus? They may be. With what I believe, they could be. I don't personally believe that they are, but with what I believe and the structure of what I believe, that's a possibility. You know, and all those people could be right, and all these people are like, you are fucking out of your mind. There's something wrong with you, you know? And it's like, that might not be true. They might not be out of their mind. They might actually be right. We just can't process that multiple people might be the reincarnation of Jesus Christ. You know? If he even did exist, I don't know.
Well, if you think about that, if you were to somehow prove that multiple people are the reincarnation of Jesus Christ, then the prophecy is fulfilled. He returned. And then you're getting into another whole...
Excuse me for burping. No. I very strongly believe if, mind you, Jesus Christ actually did exist, he's already returned multiple times. You know?
People just choose not to see him, or...
We're in a day and age where... Especially the past couple hundred years, we're in a day and age.
Well, that's true. If you walked up to me and said, "Hi, I'm Jesus Christ," I'd probably laugh at you and then punch you for blasphemy or something like that.
Well, we're in a day and age, exactly. You can be called blasphemous in a heartbeat, but also where miracles can be explained off as witchcraft, can be explained off as science, magic. You know what I'm saying? Whereas back thousands of years ago, a couple thousand years ago, not necessarily were miracles explained off so easily as we would today. You know what I'm saying? We've seen magicians walking on water, so you walk on water, you ain't doing nothing special to us. You know what I'm saying? Where our mind is racing, figuring out how you're doing that. Not, oh my God, this is a fucking miracle. Even if you prove to us that it's actually a miracle and that there's no trick behind it, we're still trying to figure out how you tricked us to think that there's no trick behind it, instead of actually realizing, holy shit, it's a miracle. So we might have been face to face with Jesus Christ. Each one of us could have been face to face with Jesus Christ. You ever heard that song? What if God was one of us?
Please don't sing that song.
Just a stranger on the bus, just a slob like one of us. Trying to make his way home. All right, Brian. All right, so on the lines of Tesla, how about this fucking police crab robot, dude? Pardon my language. How about this police crab robot?
Okay, before we even get into the police crab robot, I just gotta think it's kind of funny. There was a movie called RoboCop where this robotic police thing to replace police officers. He was supposed to be a robot cyborg thing.
Yeah, but that thing was huge compared to this thing.
He was built by a company named Omnicorp.
OCP.
And here we are, where a company named Omnicorp built RoboCop.
Are they really
in real
called
life.
Omnicorp? That's great.
With the introduction of the new crab, crab, it looks like a crab too.
That's great.
You can see the picture, you can look it up.
There's been other
CRAB
like
robotic sentry system. Policing has been revolutionized for the 21st century. The advanced robotics technology behind the crab's artificial intelligence has been secretly developed over the past 12 years as a joint venture between weapons manufacturer Dalton Stanley and mega corporation Omnicorp.
Yeah, I looked into Omnicorp probably 2 or 3 years ago when I first woke up. I looked into Omnicorp just kind of not as a joke, but to see if there was actually a company called Omnicorp. So I found another company that was like out of a movie, but a real company, and it's like they were created after the movie, but it's still interesting how they're now an actual real company.
That makes that kind of technology.
Yeah, but I looked into Omnicorp, and I remember when I looked into that, it was a robotics company at the time, and I was just like, and it was 2-3 years ago, so they hadn't released anything where it was like, oh my God, these guys are making like robots or whatever. It was just one of another robotics company, you know what I'm saying? For all you know, it was two guys sitting in an office or sitting in their basement, you know what I'm saying? It's not a real company. It's just they made Omnicorp because they like RoboCop. You know, for all I knew, that's what it was. You can make a professional-looking website, and people can be fooled. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
But I'm pretty sure I did hear of Omnicorp back in the day, and I always remember thinking that with Detroit bankrupt, wouldn't it be hilarious if Omnicorp was given permission to buy Detroit? And the whole story just began.
Could RoboCop
and all of a sudden you get an injured cop. You know, we got our we already got our cop issues, and you know we got the 2 cops in New York that got basically assassinated, right, or got murdered, right. We already got our cop story, so you get one of those cop stories in Detroit, and all of a sudden Omnicorp sets up and says, you know, we've been working on a robotic body. You know, you got this guy, he's injured, and why don't we step up and save his life? And under the mirage of saving his life, and they saved this officer that could have died.
Going with the plot line
first RoboCop,
the new RoboCop remake.
Huh?
Basically, you're basically going with the plot line from the new RoboCop remake.
In a sense, yes, but in a sense, no.
Well, here you go. This is just
Omnicorp. That's not that Omnicorp isn't the same kind of Omnicorp that the real Omnicorp is.
Well, we don't know that. But
the real Omnicorp is just a robotics company. That Omnicorp is literally a multinational conglomerate like GE or something. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the crab itself is more like the Ed 209 than the RoboCop himself.
Which one was the Ed 209?
Ed 209 was that one.
The big clunky one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
CRAB stands for computerized autonomous remote barricade.
Yeah, here's my thing, Brian. I can just tell you this right now, part of my language ahead of time. I see one of those things coming down the street with like a SWAT team tank, and I think I might just shit my pants.
I might too.
I might just shit my pants.
I'm looking at the pictures of this thing.
Especially if you think that thing,
down my street.
if that thing has any kind of artificial intelligence, I'd be terrified. Because who's to say that that thing's not just going to lose its artificial mind?
Well, here's the next thing. I'm looking at the pictures of this crab.
Like 8-legged freaks, but with mechanical.
Well, it says all over it. It says police. In emergencies, call 999. Shouldn't it be 911?
Police in emergencies call 999. Where does it say that?
Right on the body of the crab. In emergency, call 999. Right next to where it says police.
There are some municipalities and places where 911, they're not on the 911 system. 911 is actually not a nationwide system. It's everybody.
So much better.
Most counties and stuff like that are a part of the 911 system, but there are some counties that still are not part of the 911.
I love the science fiction and cartoon references. The design for this particular crab that I'm looking at is called the Cobra Venom V8. Oh, Jesus.
All right, we got to move on. Speaking of animals and crazy shit, how about, pardon my language, Jurassic World movie coming out, which looks like it's going to be really good.
Looks very good.
I don't want to touch on any of the plot or anything like that. We're not giving them free advertising or anything like that. And
we already did. We said it looks good.
Well, it does look great. Hey, check out the trailer. Good for them. But past that, how did we want to really approach this? If we now have the ability to, should we clone and bring back dinosaurs, woolly mammoths, the dodo bird, Neanderthals?
Will that offset the biological ecosystem that we now live in?
Or will we just end up like screwing ourselves over where if we clone a woolly mammoth, right, we're thinking that it's got the strength of an elephant and that all we have to do is build a surroundings for it and a cage or whatever you want to call it for it that is for an elephant, and that you would put an elephant in, and a woolly mammoth, for all we know, could be 4 times stronger than an elephant, and you have this
just
thing, you hatch it or whatever, it's born, and a month and a half later, you go to feed it, and there's just a giant hole in the wall, and you got a woolly mammoth that's been missing for 8 hours, and who knows where that thing's at, and who knows what destruction it's doing, you know what I'm saying? Or even Neanderthal, they've talked about bringing Neanderthal back, we have the ability to bring Neanderthal back now, but Neanderthal was not man. Neanderthal is not Homo erectus. You know what I'm saying? We are not Neanderthal. Neanderthal was a lot stronger than us. Neanderthal was much closer to a gorilla or an ape in that it was much stronger than us and much, I don't want to say dumber than us, still had intelligence, still might even be able to talk to you and say hi to you and tell you its name.
Let's say you bring back
it could go insane, dude.
Let's say you bring back a bunch of flying dinosaurs, or even you bring back the dodo
You'd never
bird,
bring back anything
or you
flying.
bring back the condor or something like that. Like, they've already put these genetically modified salmon into the water supply that they're 3 times larger than regular salmon, and every scientific model studying it predicts they will extinct normal salmon within 100 years, guaranteed.
Okay. So
you start doing that on a mass scale, bringing back ancient and prehistoric, long extinct creatures. You're
messing with evolution.
You're not only messing with evolution, you're going to totally flip-flop it, offset it, and forget knocking it out of balance.
Well, that's exactly like we've said many times.
That's like taking
the butterfly's
you're not
wings.
Changing the dials. You're pulling wires out.
Well, I don't know if I would say you're pulling wires out. I would probably liken much more to changing the dials, just because those things have been here before and survived on this planet before, and we're a little bit more able to control those things. But like you're saying, we don't have absolute control, especially with flying things. The dodo, that's one thing. Dodo, like, I don't know how much that actually flew. True. But you bring back something that could actually fly,
condor,
or a pterodactyl, right? Pterodactyl could fly, right? Yeah. You bring something back like that, and all of a sudden that thing gets on the loose and gets to a remote place and starts to multiply or somehow reproduce, or reproduces and somehow you end up with an infestation. Like, that might be something we don't know how to handle. We've never had to handle something like that, and that could really end up causing chaos. I think we would end up having a handle on it after a amount of time, but it would cause a lot of chaos.
All I can think of is that scene at, what was it, The Lost World, the second Jurassic Park movie at the end? The Tyrannosaurus, like, walking
LA?
down. Yeah.
That's like one of my favorite movie scenes of all time. But it's like,
this would be so bad.
Well, if they do bring back dinosaurs, what is the actual percentage likelihood of that happening? I would say probably under 10%.
Oh yeah,
I would say under 10%. But still, the possibility that it could happen, no matter where you do it, is still crazy.
Something smaller, faster could get out easier. Velociraptors. Would you want velociraptors on the loose running through modern day America?
Right. Here's my question for you. All right, would you rather see dinosaurs brought back to life by humans, right? And the dinosaurs somehow are released into the wild, I guess you could say, but are released into society and can fuck shit up, right? Would you rather have that, or some creature, i.e. Cthulhu, comes from the bottom of the ocean that we don't even know what's down there, what's at the complete and total bottom, right? Some creature from the bottom of the ocean, the size of Cthulhu or Godzilla or something, comes up and literally just starts beaching on land, or it's something it does every 1,000 years where it like beaches on land, or it has to travel across land and get to a certain point on land because that's its nesting spot or some shit. But it literally has to destroy, as it goes through all of our stuff, it has to destroy all our stuff. Which would you rather see?
I'd probably want to see the man-made dinosaurs on the loose.
And you could probably say that one is actually more likely to happen, but then again, we don't know what's down in the deep. Have you ever seen the NBC series Surface? It's like, ooh, you don't know what's down there, and you don't know how big the stuff that is down there could be. There's been some signs that there's some pretty large animals in the deep.
Mega shark versus giant octopus, man.
All right, Brian. On that note, I just wanted to come back to the NASA scientists saying we're gonna contact alien life. I know we're getting goofy on you. We're going to contact alien life by the year 2025. I thought that was kind of funny, but one thing I wanted to touch on about that is anybody that listens to the show should know about Project Bluebeam about now. And Project Bluebeam is basically the possibility or conspiracy out there that the United States or even world governments have joined together and banded together to using HARP in Alaska, or maybe even not using HARP in Alaska, maybe using satellites or some other technology that we don't know about, coming together and projecting certain images into the sky to manipulate the masses of the world, of the mass public or the mass population, to manipulate them into fear, docileness, whatever it may be, whether it's using a religious figure like Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, anything like that, or, which almost seems more likely at this point, or an alien invasion. Or how about both at the same time? Wouldn't that be crazy? You got Jesus up in the sky, like battling aliens, and like.
And over here's Muhammad at the same time helping Jesus.
Muhammad and Jesus are back to back. You know, you see in movies where they're like they both got guns and they're spinning around with their backs on each other. Oh my God!
You would have Muhammad people all over the world just. You would have religion turned upside down, and people. No,
that would bring everybody together in a heartbeat. That would bring everybody together in a heartbeat, because they'd be like, shit, our two heroes. All right, think about it this way, right? That's Hulk Hogan for NWO Black and White, and Kevin Nash for NWO Black and Red, right? They're beefing. They beefed for a while, right? Yeah, they were cool at one point, but who knows? Maybe Jesus and Muhammad were cool at one point. But they're beefing. They're beefing for a while, and all of a sudden, they're getting attacked by Sting, Lex Luthor. They're getting attacked by all these guys who are like, we're straight up WCW and we're fighting back, you know this? And they get attacked. They're fighting each other, and all of a sudden they get attacked at the same time by all these other WCW guys. And all of a sudden they're back to back, and they're like, you know what? Fuck this. We're taking on these dudes, right? And it's like, yeah, if you're an NWO Black and Red guy, you're like, all right.
Hogan's on our side.
Exactly. And then from that point forward, it's not like there wasn't an NWO Red and Black. It's not like there wasn't an NWO Black and White, or that was the only
when it
NWO
first started,
again.
It was
I know that, but it's not like it went back to that. They were still kind of separate, but it was still, they're the NWO.
Yeah.
You know, like I got along. Before that I know there was an incident like that happened, but before that incident happened, I was like, I like NWO Black and Red, Wolfpack, woo! You know what I'm saying? I was that douchebag with my Wolfpack. I was
the WWF guy at the time, so I kind of like the Wolfpack because most of the
they were all previous.
Diesel,
they were all previous guys. Yeah, but the what do you call it? I didn't get along with anybody. I don't say I didn't get along with anybody. It's not like I knew a whole bunch of people.
Nick was rumbling. It was a battle royal with the people that were for the black and white.
But what do you call it? I didn't like NWO black and white people. I didn't like the NWO black and white. But after that happened, it was like, you know what? I don't like how they all just attacked him. You know what?
Yeah.
And like think about Jesus and Muhammad back to back, and you're like, I don't like how these UFOs attack Jesus. And you know what? I might be Christian, but I don't like how those UFOs attack Muhammad, because you know what? Jesus and Muhammad were fighting together, so obviously they like each other, so maybe I shouldn't have a problem with them either. Yeah, we might not agree on all things, but at least they fought. They protected us together.
True.
You know, they protected us against the aliens together.
Oh, I
think
could
about
see
that.
it being something
that could be
like
a blue beam thing. But also think about this. If we can make contact or discover alien life by 2025, let's just say they come here, okay? You know how many people, speaking of blue beam,
How many people saw Independence Day and are going to grab their shotgun before saying hello?
Or how many people are going to go run out on their front lawn, and while everybody else is freaking the freak out, packing up their bag, getting in their car, kind of like in Independence Day, right? You got people standing on their front lawn like, blue beam, blue beam, blue. Literally, they just do that over and over and over and over again until a UFO comes up. Everybody's gone, everybody's scattered already, and they're still on their lawn like, blue beam, I'm not scared of you.
It's all bull.
And a UFO comes up and it's like, and all of a sudden that guy's gone, just like zap, and he's gone and he's dust. And it's like, so much for blue beam, right? Yeah, that was really blue beam, huh? You were the smart one yelling blue beam at the UFOs because you knew what it was, and it was actually UFOs. And they were we're getting rid of this poisonous cancer on this planet. I really wanted to just touch on that about Project Bluebeam and stuff. Another thing I wanted to touch on. This is going to be our 3NN 180. All right. What was that?
That was the camera making a weird noise.
Oh, it stopped recording.
Oh.
It did. All right. Well, I'll hit record. Brian, do you have this pulled up about the Muslim fatwa?
It would not open on my computer. No, I do not.
All right. Well, just give me a second and we'll touch on that.
But to fill the people in, just so we're all on the same level, apparently the Muslim fatwa says it's okay to eat. That's EAT, eat your wife if she misbehaves.
All right. Now that Brian has said that, I would like to come in and not correct Brian, but let everybody know that is... Oh, I guess we're not going to have video after this point. The camera decided it's probably overheating. I don't know exactly what it's doing, but it doesn't want to record anymore. So, hey, we got a good hour in, I think, of stuff.
Oh, yeah,
anyway,
it's been a while. We're only...
This is what I wanted to say, is that basically that story, that fatwa that came out, there are stories that are saying, hey, this Muslim fatwa came out, said it's okay to eat your wife if she misbehaves or acts up, you know what I'm saying? And Muslim guys have a lot of control over their wife, so it sounds about right, no? And this fatwa actually came out after he heard that this was being reported and stated that is actually not the truth, and he never once said that.
Oh.
So, on that note, I want people to realize sometimes you are being fed Islamophobia to feed the war machine and feed patriotism and feed Christian values and this and that. So,
I don't even think this guy listens to our show or watches our show at all.
Well, then screw him, that dick.
But anyway,
what?
He's someone I know who always talks about how awake and aware he is at work. Co-worker.
Well, if somebody's talking about how awake and aware they are, they're usually not that awake and aware.
Good. This is good. This is great.
But go ahead.
He'll talk about what a great President Obama is, and he'll defend Obama, and Obama really does want to help you.
Hey, I defend Obama sometimes.
It gets better. The news isn't deceiving you. You're just misunderstanding what they're saying.
Oh, yeah. That's one of those people.
And I forget why I was getting on this topic, but it was something you had just said, and it slips my mind right now, which is the reason I'm drawing this out the way I am.
I can't wait till we get this fucking brain fart button, because that's like one of the only times I get to fucking press it for you. So I'll just press it, act like we have it, and I'll press it. Ready? Brain fart. That sucks, Brian. I know the feeling. Trust me, I know the feeling. Yeah, I don't know. I've known plenty of people like that who really think they're awake, and it's like usually if they got to tell you that they're awake and they're aware and this and that, they're not really awake and they're not. The first step to knowledge is admitting that you know nothing. You know? That's the truth.
He'll admit 9/11 was a scam and a false flag, but he won't go into detail on it, and he swears we're fighting ISIS and we would never fund Al-Qaeda.
Well, also think about it. Think about it. Somebody who saw Fahrenheit 9/11, which he probably saw Fahrenheit 9/11, he knows there's some fucked up shit going on. But it's also, he's fed the narrative of, well, there's nothing else messed up. That was one isolated event. Like, there's nothing else going on. So, and the news doesn't lie.
He refuses to
did Michael Moore say anything about
he supports Hillary, by the way. He supports Hillary running for president. He thinks Hillary would be a good president.
2016. Tricky dick.
Vote for me in 2020. I'll fix America.
Vermin Supreme, baby. Vermin Supreme.
Dude, I have a great plan. Some of you might have seen on our other show, Brainstorming. I almost said brain damage there. Our other show, Brainstorming. I formally announced my candidacy for 2020. I'm running for president. My platform
not recording anymore, right?
I'm looking at it anyway. I don't care.
Okay.
Because I vow to water the crops with Gatorade.
Okay.
I vow to do away with reading. And I vow that every fast food restaurant, every tax office, every supermarket, chain store, anywhere you go, barbershop, you will get a happy ending.
You remind me of, what the fuck was his name? It wasn't John Edwards. Who was it? Oh, man. And he did the, that guy. That's who you reminded me of. You're too excited, Brian. You got to be calm. You got to be robot like Mitt Romney. No, you don't got to do anything. You don't got to run for president because it's a scam and you're not related to him anyway.
Bob Dole don't need this.
Brian ain't got a chance.
Maybe I am related to them and I just don't know it.
Hey, that is, honestly, I've thought that myself because there's some cloudiness and some vagueness as far as my family and where exactly my family comes from. I'm so interested in doing one of the Ancestor.com or whatever things to figure out where my family's from because my dad is convinced that we're kings and queens and that our throne was just taken from us at some point in history and we've been forgotten by history. And one day we will reclaim our throne. And it's like, well, that sounds like the ramblings of a madman to me. That doesn't sound like the truth. But then again, until I actually know the history of my family, I'm sure that that's happened to people before. I'm sure that a royal family has lost its seat, and then 1,000 years later, it's found out that that family is a royal family and lost its seat. But I'm sure people have found out that they're part of like their blood or their family. Part of their family is royalty. And they didn't even know it, and nobody in their family knew it. Because they looked into it, that's how they found out. So you never really know, dude. You never really know. But then again, when it comes down to it, I don't really like thinking about it or thinking about looking into it too much because then I don't want any reason to think that I'm better than anybody else. And when you find out, oh, I'm royalty or I'm related to these people and this and that, it's like you start to think that you might be better than other people because you're a part of that family. These people are related to you. And like when you think about
circle, man.
Well, no, think about celebrities' siblings and relatives. How often, have you ever met a celebrity's sibling or relative, how often they preach to you that they are related to that person? Some don't. Some live a normal life and are interested in living their normal life. But other ones, they can't get enough of telling people that they're related, or because in their mind, they think those people are automatically putting them on a pedestal because it's like, holy shit, your brother is who? Or your cousin is who? Are you serious? Like I knew Josh Howard in the NBA. Josh Howard played for the Dallas Mavericks, was a starter for a while, an all-star, right? I knew his cousin. In Delaware. He lived in Delaware for a little while and worked with my sister and ended up finding out that was Josh Howard's cousin, and me and my sister would hang out with him sometimes. Me and my sister weren't best friends. But me and my sister would go hang out with him, and it was cool, but every now and then he would bring it up, but he wouldn't like harp on it. He would bring it up like, oh, what you doing this weekend? He's like, oh, I'm going out, or my cousin's coming into town. My cousin's playing the Sixers this weekend, and he's coming into town, so me and him are actually going to go do a few things, and it's like, oh, cool, you know. It's not like he would ever be like, yo, my cousin plays for the Dallas Mavericks, yo, my cousin's a starter for the Dallas Mavericks. Like, he didn't like preach it like that, but I've seen people who do preach it because they want to feel like they're better than other people. They want to feel like that gives them a leg up, or that they are better than, or that they can look down on other people because I'm related to this person. So it's I don't like really thinking about, I'm my royalty. My family's important and my family history is important, but it's not so important that it's a necessity that I need to know because it'll change everything going forward. It's not going to change anything about me, you know?
Now, I found out at my grandfather's funeral, apparently I'm like fourth cousins with Kelly Ripa.
Oh, that's disgusting,
isn't it?
Yeah,
like my uncle married somebody who was related to somebody who I'm related to Kelly Ripa.
Kelly Ripa's annoying.
Makes me want to shoot myself hearing that.
She can be pretty. She can be. I'm sure she's somewhat of a nice person. I've heard she's a bitch. I've heard a couple people.
Yeah, they were saying she's a bitch.
Yeah, but
family was saying she's a bitch.
But you never know. Also, some celebrities, think about it this way, right? Also, Brian, because a lot of times celebrities, people get confused with celebrities. Not confused, but
I've never met her. But
they get the wrong impression. I've met a couple celebrities personally. I've met the one that comes to mind immediately is Ron Jeremy, right?
Ooh, you met Ron Jeremy.
You can think that when you meet a celebrity that they are a dickhead, when in all reality they are 110% on their business. You know what I'm saying? They're focused on getting the shit that they need to get done. You know what I'm saying? And they're not at that moment, they're not focusing on, I need to give attention to my fans and I need to talk to people and this and that. The reason they got successful was focusing and getting shit done and being about their business and not being distracted by certain things. So sometimes when you run into them and it's like, oh, he just kind of blew me off, or he didn't want to say hi to me, or this or that, it's like, maybe that person's not really a dick, and they're just focused on what they're doing. But most people don't have that kind of focus, so when they see somebody in that focus, they can't even realize that they're in that focus. They're like, oh, that person's just being a dickhead. You know
up until this, I met Shawn Michaels when I was a kid, back when, I guess it was right after he lived his dream and became the champion when he beat Bret Hart in a 1-hour Iron Man match. I met him.
Good match.
And he was a total ass clown. Like, he was a douche bag. Like, I'm sitting there like, at the time, I'm like, wow, it's Shawn Michaels. I got my picture with him and everything, got the autograph. But he was just being a total dickhead.
Yeah, see, no matter what, you want to be nice to people, dude.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there like, I walked away from that like, I'm really not a Shawn Michaels fan anymore. I hope he loses to Sid.
Yeah, no matter what. My buddy had actually met Carson Daly when he was dating Jennifer Love Hewitt. Met them both at the same time.
Oh, he must have been a stuck-up asshole at the time.
Carson Daly, you would think Carson Daly was a nice guy, and Jennifer Love Hewitt was probably a bitch.
He's probably
completely opposite. Carson Daly was the biggest asshole of them all, and Jennifer Love Hewitt was a complete and total sweetheart and very nice and very friendly and all that. But Carson Daly was like a complete and total asshole. And it's like, you wouldn't really expect that because you see Carson Daly on TV and he's Mr. Friendly and this and that, but it's like, that's all kind of part of his act. But that also teaches you, it's like, if you ever get to that point of being, I don't want to say famous, but at that point where there's people coming up to you and want to say hi to you or want your autograph or this or that, there is a way to handle it where even if you are focused, you can still be nice to people. Like, what happens is a lot of people get focused, and a lot of businessmen do this, is they get so focused on shit, is they start being dickheads to people and they're not even realizing it. They're just thinking, that's distracting me from
We're in the Philadelphia area.
It's like,
anyone who doesn't know,
on everything and be nice.
We're in the Philadelphia area, just outside Philly and New Jersey. Old school ECW, right? The franchise Shane Douglas and the Dudley Boys were combined some of the most hated people in the history of professional wrestling, respectively. The Shane Douglas character, I mean, you see him in the ring on a microphone, you figure, this guy's got to be a douche.
Yeah, everybody knows.
Dudley's, same thing. Like, they were probably, of all the pro wrestlers I've ever met, and I've met a lot of them, I have pictures, autographs. I should bring that over one day, show you all that shit. But Shane Douglas and Bubba Ray Dudley and Devon Dudley are three of the coolest, most chill, most down-to-earth, sit there and bullshit with the fans for 5 hours wrestlers I've ever met. The Sandman, seemed like he wanted nothing to do with talking to anyone. He just wanted to get out of there. Like,
a lot of the ECW guys were that way. Yeah, I heard that about the Sandman, too. But you also got to realize the Sandman had addiction problems.
True.
The Sandman, it's not like, the Sandman,
and at the time, I was kind of young to
Well, you saw Sandman drinking on stage, and if you understood understand wrestling, you're like, oh, that's just kind of his character. No, that was kind of the Sandman.
That was Jim Fullington.
Yeah. He had a fucked
A lot
up
of people
lifestyle.
don't know.
I think he was.
I'll throw this out there. It's 3NN. This is interesting shit. Why not? We'll throw this out there on this week's 3NN. Your random fact of the week is when ECW ECW did the bit in '94 where Sandman was blind. And they talk about it in the WWE when they did the Rise and Fall of ECW DVD.
I got that, yeah.
And they go into detail about how he stayed at home, his wife answered the door. The reason they did that whole bit is he was in rehab.
That makes sense. All right.
People don't know.
That's our 5 minutes too much of wrestling for the day. Now we're going to touch on...
By the way, it's the white and black's better than the red and black. Yeah, I got older and realized that. They're the original.
Actually, they both suck.
Yeah, they do.
Down to
they really do.
Sting all day.
It's all washed up. It's old washed up WWF guys that needed a job.
All right, now for our 3NN Are You Kidding Me segment of the day. There's a Washington robbery suspect. I ain't going to touch on this more than 30 seconds. I just thought it was hilarious. Funny. A Washington robber suspect.
22 years old.
Chuckle, 22 years old, who... When arrested and caught after robbing, did he rob a store or a bank?
He robbed
Scrooge McDuck's
a Subway restaurant.
Maybe his next target was Scrooge McDuck's vault. Oh, UPI.com. You're funny. This guy had a bag that he put his money in after he robbed Subway, and the bag had a giant dollar sign on the side of the bag.
Like something straight out of a cartoon.
My man is watching way too many Saturday morning cartoons. But you know what? I give him props because that's some ballsy shit. If you're going to run from a robbery store or a robbery scene with a bag with a giant dollar sign on it, that almost sounds like a YouTube prank, dude. Doesn't it?
It really
you run
does.
out of a store. You know there's a cop standing outside of a store, so you come bolting out of a store with a bag with a dollar sign on it, filled up with like 2 pillows or something, and just bolt and watch that cop come after you. With that dollar signs on there, he gonna come right at you. It's like a fucking prank.
Put some like cheesy music to it, like like upbeat poppy.
Oh, it'd be great, dude. All right. I just thought that was funny. I guess the last thing we're going to touch on before we tell you all the things we didn't get to touch on is this, what do you call it? There's a few different things, but I guess the summary of it is school disciplining of children at school. We can talk about the education system and Common Core and all that and how that's messed up, but when it comes to discipline for children, it is getting out of hand, Brian. I'll give you a little backstory and then I'll read you this right here. Is when I was in middle school, actually it was elementary school in Cherry Hill, I remember I had got this new Nerf gun, dude. This new Nerf gun was balls to the wall, dude. Balls to the wall. It held the Nerfs on the inside of it. No. You put 3 Nerfs in there, right? And as you fired each time, you went thoom, thoom, thoom. It fired 1, 2, 3. It fired each one individually. But it was like a little handgun. Dude, it was awesome. I was like, I'm bringing this, and I'm in recess. I'm busting this thing out, and we are playing with this because this is like the coolest thing I've ever had, right? So I bring it to school, I got it in my backpack, and get like maybe an hour, 2 hours into the school day, and I'm telling people about it, and they're like, let's see it. Come on, I want to see it. You said it's cool, let's see it. And I was like Mr. Popular in Cherry Hill, so it's like I couldn't tell people I brought something in to show everybody without like people wanting to start, like multiple people wanting to start seeing it. Hey! You're going to fucking fall out the window scratching on the screen.
Yeah, kitty.
Who knows if these fucking screens are attached well. Well, basically, right? I showed it to a couple kids. I busted it out. I actually pulled it out of my backpack and had it like sitting on my lap. And then one teacher saw it and was like, "I'm taking this," right? And the teacher took it, and I went to and we had like 5 or 6 periods for the day. It was like set up kind of like high school, but not fully yet. Yeah. Well, I went on to my next period, right? And got like 10, 15 minutes into that period and got called down to the office. And the office was like, did you bring this in? They showed me the gun. They're like, did you bring this in today? And I was like, yeah, I did. I'm sorry. I didn't know I wasn't allowed. It's just a toy. You know what I'm saying? They were like, okay, well, unfortunately, we have to suspend you for 5 days. Or actually, it was 10 days. 10 days automatic suspension for bringing a weapon into school. And I was like, wait, what?
How's a Nerf gun a weapon?
Because it's a gun. Exactly. And we've heard these stories, how even a kid with shaping his finger like a gun and pointing it at another student.
Well, nowadays,
going bang,
we're
exactly.
talking.
Well, that was the beginning. That's what I'm saying. It was the beginning of it. That was 1996.
Okay.
When that happened. Okay. So in 1996, it was slowly starting. These little policies were coming into effect. It's like, it doesn't matter even if it's a foam soap gun. If it's shaped like a gun and the kid pulls it out, then he needs to be suspended because you don't bring anything that even looks like a weapon to school. Then it changed from, well, if he pulls it out and points it at somebody, if he pulls it out, he's suspended. But if he points it at somebody, he's in a lot more trouble, even if it is fake, you know what I'm saying? Then they started adding more and more and more onto it. Now it's out of control where you can't even make the shape of a gun with your hand and do some shit like that. So that's where that was at that time. Remember, I got home and I told my mom about it, and I'd already been suspended like probably 10 times up to that point. But told my mom about it, and she's like, you got suspended again? Oh my God, what happened? And I told her the whole story. I'm like, I brought my new Nerf gun to school, you know, I was just showing it to a couple people, and the one teacher took it away, and then a couple hours later they called me down to the office and told me I was suspended, and I had to sit in the office, and I came home, and here I am. She was like, wait, what? They suspended you because your Nerf gun? Like, were you shooting it in class? Were you being disruptive with it? I was like, no, like it was like in between class, or like when we're allowed to talk to each other and stuff. Like the kids around me, they wanted to see it, and I just showed it to them. It's not even like we were playing with it or anything. She's like, screw that, I'm calling the school. So she called the school. The school's like, there's nothing we can do. That's our policy. That's like school district policy. She's like, all right, well, who do I call at the school district? They're like, I guess you would have to talk to the superintendent. So she called the superintendent and argued with the superintendent about it. He said, that's policy, yada, yada, yada. And she got off the phone. I'm thinking, like, cool, I'm going to be going back to school tomorrow or the next day. They're going to at least lower my suspension. Nope. My mom didn't get nothing. She argued with the guy, like, are you kidding me? It's obviously not a weapon. And you're trying to say that my son brought a weapon to school. My son did not bring a weapon to school. He brought a Nerf gun to school. Have you seen the bullets that come out of this thing? They're foam. They couldn't hurt somebody even if you, like, jabbed somebody with it as hard as you could. You couldn't hurt somebody with one of these things. How are you suspending him for bringing a weapon to school for a Nerf gun? So that was the start of stuff, all right? And then we come along to, what is this, from April 9th. This is reported on TampaBay.com, is middle school student charged with cybercrime in Holiday, whatever in Holiday means. I guess that's a school. Oh, that's a town in Florida, right? Is this? Yeah, Tampa Bay, around Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
All right. Now you're thinking, oh my God, cybercrime. What did this kid do? Did he hack into his school? Did he hack in and change his grades? Like, this kid's he's charged with cybercrime. He must have done something really messed up, right? No. He was just trying to play a prank, but let's tell you what he did, okay? Pasco County Sheriff's Office has charged Dominic Green, an 8th grader at Paul R. Smith Middle School, with an offense against a computer system and unauthorized access, a felony. Sheriff Chris Nutko said Thursday that Green logged onto the school's network on March 31st using an administrator-level password without permission. Well, that's a teacher's
definitely
fault.
Federal crime right there.
That is, but that's a teacher's fault for releasing that information to him. If the teachers are able to keep their stuff secure, that should never get to any student. There's no way that you can say, oh, well, it slipped through the cracks. No. That's not, a password is not something that slips through the cracks to a student. No teacher should be giving that out. That's on a teacher, not the student for using it. He then changed the background image on a teacher's computer to one showing two men kissing, which is, oh man, that's raunchy. Oh, that's sick. Oh, I don't care what your thoughts on gay men are or anything like that. I'm not saying you, I'm saying anybody out there.
Yeah.
I don't care what people's thoughts on gay men are. It was a joke. It was a little bit of a prank. Yes, maybe suspend the kid for a day or 2 days or even a week if you're really feeling so liberated to do it. But you're going to charge the kid with cybercrime?
Well, look at what the sheriff goes on to say. Even though some might say this is just a teenage prank, who knows what this teenager might have done?
Yeah.
What do you mean what he might have done? He did it.
Yeah.
That's all he did.
Yeah.
He was done. It's done. It's over. He didn't do anything else. What do you mean what he might have done?
Exactly. Hey, well, listen to listen to their reasoning, okay? Think about it like this, Ryan. Okay, a police officer pulls up on somebody taking a leak in a bush, right, outside of a bar. For all that police officer knows, he sees that guy taking a leak, zip up his pants and start to walk back in the bar. For all that officer knows, that guy could have stopped right before he walked into the bar, turned around, came back out, went to the spot where he was peeing, pulled his bird out again, and just started whacking off or something. or pulled his pants all the way down. Or he could have very well taken a dump. How do we know that because he was peeing right there, he wasn't also going to take a dump? So maybe we should charge him as if he was getting ready to take a dump.
Good idea.
You know, the possibilities of the things that guy could have done.
I like the way you think.
That brazen that he's going to pee in a bush out front of a bar.
On that note,
we need to give him a terrorizing charge.
I heard somebody I know was questioning the official story of 9/11, and if they'll question that, what else will they do? Maybe we should lock them up in a black site for the rest of their life.
And on the same note, we have a something from truthstreammedia.com. That's 2 M's in there.
M's,
I would have just made it
one.
1, but whatever. School idiocy, ban all things is the name of it. Another one posted on April 9th. Nothing is too absurd for our public government indoctrination camps, schools, to ban and punish children over these days. Today's headlines read more like The Onion than reality, but it's actually not even remotely funny that the majority of our nation's kids are being subjected to this idiotic lunacy every single day. It's preparing children for the police state and incarceration and dealing with punishment for everything. You know, I came to realize a few days ago, Brian, okay, right? I was driving past the marina down here, okay? Sometimes I think about, I'll walk past the marina and I want to go into the marina. I want to walk back in there. But I'm not sure. I see a like no trespassing sign back there, and I'm not like, I could still walk past the no trespass, not past it, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I could still go the other direction and see the marina and this and that, right? But I've always seen that no trespassing sign, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not trying to get myself in trouble or anything like that, right? Well, we come to restrict ourselves in so many different ways in life. That's just one example of how we'll see a no trespassing sign, and literally we'll see that no trespassing sign and walk 3 miles around that property and continue on our straight line path, but we took a 3-mile diversion in a giant circle or a giant half circle to get around that giant piece of property that said no trespassing, when we know in our hearts of hearts there's nobody that's going to stop us from walking across that field. And even if an officer pulls up, he's probably not going to charge us with anything. We might just get harassed or whatever. But we get slowly but surely trained and indoctrinated into, we have to follow those authority signs. We have to follow authority in general, regardless of how stupid or against common sense it goes. You know what I'm saying? Like what really made me realize that was like no trespassing signs. There's some no trespassing signs you don't want to violate. But there's other no trespassing signs.
If I see a no trespassing,
it's not a big deal, dude.
Yeah, let's put this
if you're
into
an explorer,
perspective.
you want to explore the world. It's not that you're trespassing because you have evil intentions. It's because you want to explore. And if you end up getting in trouble for that, then so what? You wanted to explore.
Now, if you're walking down the street, there's 2 signs that say no trespassing. One of them is literally nailed onto the side of a tree next to a path going into the woods. Yep. The other is on a 15-foot tall double barbed wire, razor wire, electrified fence with other signs that say excessive force is authorized and lethal action has been authorized. Which one of those 2 trespassing signs would you most likely not want to?
And most people, exactly. I guess that's a great way to put it, because most people don't look at it in that way. They almost look at it as that no trespassing sign, that as soon as they cross past that sign, that there's somebody watching them, somebody's going to call the police, there's going to be about 4 or 5 police cars that show up, and they're going to come tackling you down and saying, there's a no trespassing sign, you're not allowed back here, and you're under arrest, and they're going to start to assault you, because sometimes cops just want to assert their power, and you know what I'm saying, we have all these thoughts of what could happen, when in all reality, the worst that could happen a lot of times when you see a no trespassing sign is, if a cop were to come, he's going to give you a citation. It's going to be a citation that you mail in a check, and they're just trying to make money. And that no trespassing sign was just money. And hold on. So we'll walk the extra 3 miles because we're afraid to take the chance on getting a citation, a $30 no trespassing citation.
Yet we'll blow how much money on the lottery on a weekly basis?
Exactly. We're thinking almost backwards.
It's still a gamble.
All right, when it comes to this, all right, I'm just going to jump down, all right? I love how this touches, it's from Truthstream Media, but they're quoting Fox News. So let's see what they say about let's see what they say that Fox News says, because maybe Fox News has a good point. I will admit it if it's true. All right. Now, Tennessee has introduced legislation to ban squirt guns and toy weapons of any kind within 100 feet of a school. This would literally criminalize even pretending to have a gunfight, while further conditioning the next generation to fear guns and think them to be illegal. Likely, water balloon fights, if organized amongst enough members of the community, are to be regarded as brewing insurgencies. And yes, that's practicing throwing grenades. Water balloons, that's practicing throwing grenades at each other.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's practicing insurgency.
I
Isn't
grew
that
up
a shame?
with water
Isn't that
balloons
one of the
and water
most fun
pistols.
things to do? Isn't that one of the most fun things to do is to have a water balloon fight? Because
Yeah.
they don't really hurt. It's hilarious when one pops right on you. You know what I'm saying? It's like one of the only things where you can get nailed right in the head, and it's actually funny 90% of the time. You know what I'm saying? Well, like snowball fight, it's funny 10% of the time when you get
Yeah.
nailed in the head because it kind of hurts and it kind of sucks to get all that ice and snow in your
Yeah.
face. But it's still kind of funny. But water balloons are fun.
Yeah,
Really,
they
you're
are.
going to ban water balloons?
That kind of bothers me.
Ban everything. Ridiculous or dangerous. A column on Fox News addressed the underlying message of disciplining kids for this stuff. Also, this is from Fox News. Also, exactly what messages are we sending to kids with these suspensions? That toy guns and guns made out of food or hand gestures are somehow dangerous? That all real-life guns are bad and the mere thought of them is worthy of punishment? What about the guns those children's parents may be using to defend their homes? Exactly. It's all indoctrination. It's all programming. So your child comes home and says, "Why do we have a gun? Guns are bad. No, we shouldn't have a gun."
So many police departments have been caught across the United States literally offering kids like $200 to turn in rat their parents out, basically, if they own firearms, even if they're legal firearms that are legally registered and purchased.
Yep. Oh, all right. So we'll wrap it up with
So
this.
that ties in with that, kind of.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. If you can't take the guns away from people, do everything else you can to demonize them, the gun owners, even though they know they're justified and they're right and they're exercising
Plus, if the
their
next
rights.
generation hates guns and fears guns and thinks guns are evil, they're not going to buy guns.
Yeah, but you know what? There's a sinister plot behind this, but in all reality, and that's one thing we'll have to touch on. We'll have to have a gun episode because I'm on the fence. I believe you should have the right to defend yourself, especially if, what do you call it? If governments have the right to have guns. But I often think about this, and I know it's like a pipe dream. I'm sure I'm going to hear from Ryan, well, that's just a pipe dream. That's just not the way it is. Well, I don't like hearing that's just not the way it is. I like to think about a solution. And just because I'm not giving you a solution does not mean I'm not thinking about a solution. But think about it this way, Ryan. Not weapons, but guns, rockets, like rocket launchers, grenades, mass destructive weapons, starting with guns and going up to bombs. What if they were never invented, Brian? And what if we just had knives, bats, blunt force objects, and that's about it? Arrows, if you want to get somebody from far away, maybe an arrow, but like bow and arrow. But past that, what if guns and weapons like that were never invented? What world would we be living in?
Slingshots and spears.
I mean, for everybody. Government as well. And there's nobody that has guns. The reason for saying we need guns and we have every right to have guns now is because the people in charge have guns and we have the right to defend ourselves if they go awry or the plans of mice, the best laid plans of mice of men go awry. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If that were to happen, we deserve to have guns. But what if there were no guns? And is it okay? Is there something wrong with envisioning that world and trying to reach for that world, even though it seems improbable or almost impossible? Is there something wrong with wanting to reach for that world without guns? Guns are a bad thing.
If I may quote someone who's pretty big in the media in his own little circle, 1776 will commence again if you try to take our firearms.
Guns, but Brian, inherently step outside of the United States and the Bill of Rights and the Constitution and all of that, and step outside of the military-industrial complex.
Then what happens when we get invaded by extraterrestrials and have no way to defend ourselves?
We're not going to have any. The guns aren't going to do a damn thing to defend ourselves against extraterrestrials, and we should already know that. We should be smart enough to already know that. But, what was I going to say? I don't know. It started with you. Okay. You. Think of it this way. You were just born. You don't have that knowledge of all of this. You don't have the knowledge of all of that. But you do have, you're just learning about things. You're Lilu from The Fifth Element.
Oh.
You're just learning about everything. You're looking at everything as seeing it for the first time.
Damn, I'm hot.
Guns are a fucking bad thing. Bombs are a fucking bad thing.
Yes.
Lives should not be taken in that manner. Okay? Lives should not be taken without some sort of respect or without some sort of emotion. Lives should never be taken at the fucking push of a button. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
How many times, and I guess maybe it would seem a lot more fair if throughout history there were many, many more occasions, or it was even an even thing, where there were just as many people, the people that were being shot had guns as well. There were just as many people being shot who had guns as well. But it's always the people being shot are the people that don't have fucking guns and don't have any way that are being massacred. That's fucked up, dude. Fucked up.
Fucked up.
All right, so I don't know. I'm gonna read the last bit of this. We're gonna tell everybody what we missed, and we're gonna fucking bloop, 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 bloop. Finish it up.
Nice.
Finish it up. Bloop, bloop. Finish it up. Finish it up. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Finish it up. Finish it up. Bloop, bloop, bloop. All right. But guns and various visages of them aren't the only issue, Brian. There's also the politically correct. By undermining social norms and educationally modifying students to become comfortable serfs in the techno-dictatorship that is cementing around us, Common Core has confused the language of learning and sprouted many of the most sensible elements in public uprooted many of the most sensible elements in public education. It didn't start with Common Core, but it is rotting quite rapidly under it. Cursive handwriting has been declared obsolete, along with the right to express emotions and even have a gender identity. You know what? There should be a movement for pushing our kids like the second or third grade level, to learn how to write cursive.
Yeah.
Like by parents. Teachers and schools can't afford to do it anymore. Oh, well, screw them. Why don't parents do it? And teach them calligraphy at the same time. They'll love it. They'll love being able to produce stuff like that from their own two fingers. You know?
Yeah.
You just give them a pen and they can create some shit. That's awesome. Pardon my language. Yes,
Create some shit.
Yes, some schools have begun instructing teachers that they may no longer separate boys and girls in groups, or even refer to little girls by such terms as her, or boys by him. Instead, inclusive and progressive re-educators are being told to call them purple penguins and make no distinction between their difference. You've told me this before, Brian.
Yeah,
they are also
about
engaged.
A year ago.
They are also engaged in the stamping out of cultural ties to religion and nation, with efforts to punish those who would speak of God in schools or dare to wear an American flag-themed T-shirt. But then again, Texas is calling Moses founding father. It's
Ain't
like
that
it's funny,
great?
the dichotomy of our country sometimes. They're also engaged in stamping out of control ties to religion and nation. Did I just say that? Yeah. Banning cultural symbols, language, religion, and country. Wonder what the message behind that is? Look at where social engineering is driving society, and just think about where America is going to be in a few more generations. So on that note, I'd like to tell everybody what we missed. Do you have anything else you want to touch on the fucking, just pardon my language again, the school disciplining?
No, I think, no. That's a deep rabbit hole to go down in and of itself.
No, I don't. No, I don't. Do you have anything to say, Robin? No, I don't. All right. All right, I'm just going to tell everybody what we missed, what we wanted to touch on, and we'd like you to go ahead and check out there. If you check out any of these and you'd like us to follow up and touch on it, hey, you just let us know, okay? Because we are so willing to come back to something if you're interested in hearing about it. Because we do this show for you, for us and for you, for the people, right?
The little people.
The little people.
And the big people.
And the big people. Because some people
and the purple penguins.
Hey, some people could get confused. All right, some people could be like, "So are they talking about the little people of L.A. and the little people of New York? Is it just exclusive to them?"
We're talking about the damn purple penguins,
dude. You better stop with purple penguins. Doobie doobie doo. Beware the penguins. All right. So we wanted to touch on a couple things. The U.S. government, U.S. governmental agency basically admitted that marijuana may help fight brain tumors. Freaking insane. Come on now. But then again, they own the patent, so eventually they're going to slowly but surely release that information and make money off it. Come on now.
Of course.
Stanley Kubrick's widow, says her husband directed the fake moon landings. Whoa, wait, what? She could just be nuts, too. She could be schizophrenic and have voices in her head telling her to tell people that. You know what I'm saying? And those voices could be real. Those voices could be MK Ultra type voices. Who knows? And a lot of times I think of schizophrenia and the voices that people hear, and it's like, did schizophrenia, the voices people hear, did that pick up or alter at all when MK Ultra became a thing? I don't know. Because there are waves out there. There are messages out there obviously being sent over, I guess, the airwaves or through the atmosphere to certain individuals. So are other people, schizophrenic people, picking up those messages at all? I don't know.
That's an interesting thought. Something we may want to look into or discuss in a future episode.
But a point Brian brought up on the moon landings, if they're actually fake, right? where are we actually technology-wise? If the moon landings did not actually occur and that was done on a set, where are we technology-wise, okay? And you think about the iPhone is insane, all the things that it can do.
True.
But then the space shuttle is about 20 years behind. And they just tested out a UFO-shaped thing, but we haven't evolved past the space shuttle. We haven't even really gotten past the moon. Like, we haven't sent a man past the moon. So how really evolved and technologically advanced
former
are
DARPA
we?
chief says that
We landed on the moon 50 years ago. Hold on, we landed on the moon 50 years ago, and we haven't gone past the moon since?
Apparently not.
You might have a point, Brian. So, what do you call it? There's a lot of other things to think about and to discuss about on the moon. So, on that note, we're going to touch on
the moon.
The moon. Next week, check out 3NN27, The Moon Spectacular.
And if anybody knows why pulling your pants down and showing your ass is called mooning someone, let us know.
I believe because if you look at the silhouette of it, it can look like a moon or the shape of a half moon or something. I don't know. Or it might have something to do with an outhouse. I'm really not sure, Brian. We also want to know if there's life on the moon. We also want to know if the moon could be hollow. And if it is hollow, what could it be?
Or is the moon
a giant egg that's getting ready to hatch Cthulhu one day?
Oh, yeah. It could be the Death Star.
Is it a spaceship? Is it a spaceship that broke down, that came here and broke down? We touched on that a little bit before.
That's no moon. It's a space station.
That's where I'm going next week, is the moon is a spaceship. So I don't know. I think Brian might be going to the moon landings and if they were a hoax, but I'm going to the moon. Is the moon a spaceship? All right. So next week, don't forget to check out 3NN27, The Moon Spectacular. I really would love to thank everybody for joining us today. It's been a wonderful show.
Fly me to the moon.
Allow me to introduce myself. Who loves you? That's my freaking song.
Okay, terrific.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'm getting the right song here, but I definitely wanted to. Oh, come on, man. Come on. What's his name? What's his name?
Who?
Come on.
Who's he?
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Van Morrison.
Oh, no.
He said, oh, no. No. What is he doing, Nick? What are you doing?
Okay,
Thank you, everybody.
No, there's just one song I would have had to kill you if you...
Everybody, you can check us out on Facebook.com/3NM Podcast. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube.com/Where We Lied To.
Yes, we were.
You can also check out the Where We Lied To Facebook page, Facebook.com/Where We Lied To. The Nick Tesla Facebook page, the Facebook.com/The Real Nick Tesla. And also check out Brian McFadden. If you search on Facebook, you can find Brian McFadden. I'm sure, I think isn't it Brian McFadden 503? Facebook.com/Brian McFadden 503.
Is it?
I believe that's what it is. It might be Brian.McFadden 503.
Yeah, it's probably some dots and crap in there.
On that note, everybody have a great week, and we will see you next week for 3NN on Wednesdays at 9. Thank you very much, and everybody have a great week. We keep looking at this camera, and it ain't been recording for at least an hour.
I've been doing it too.
All right, everybody have a great week.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Not Conway Twitty.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Not Conway Twitty. Mr. Van Morrison. Drip, drip, drop, drop.
Thank you.